I'll be going through the answers quickly, so make sure your course book is open and in front of you. And please stop and rewind the video as you need to. So, got your book open in front of you? Are your answers in capitals? Want to know why the answers are the answers? Then let's go. For question number 1, let's have a look at the language pattern before the gap. It says, once part of our daily routine have become instantly what? We've got an adverb before the gap. Adverbs modify verbs and adjectives. Putting a verb in here, to forget, have become instantly forget, of course, doesn't make any sense, which means that it has to be the adjective forgettable. For question number 2, just before the gap we've got an adjective, just before the adjective we've got an article. Both of them need a noun. Of course, the article suggests that this has to be a singular noun. So if we have a look at the stem word, it's attach, it means that the noun we need is attachment. Question number 3, very familiar language pattern with these word formation questions. If we've got of followed by a gap, the chances are, in almost 99.9% of cases, I'll even go as far as to say 100%, in 100% of cases, after of, if you haven't got a noun, you're going to need a noun. And that's exactly what we've got here. If you've got a noun, then you're going to need an adjective. And we've got, or a quantifier of some kind, like we have here, some. But we don't have the noun. So what's the noun that we need? Comfort. For question number 4, what we need here, if we have a look at the language pattern, is an adjective to modify the website, in other words, the noun. So it says here, the Museum of Endangered Sounds, a website, what to preserving. So here we need an adjective to modify the noun, and that adjective is dedicated. For question number 5, here we need a noun of some kind, because museums is museum with a possessive apostrophe. In other words, something that belongs to the museum. And if we follow the context of the text, it's clear that we're talking about people. So what we need here is a personal noun. So the question we then have to ask ourselves is it singular or plural? Is it founder or founders? Well, the key to that is further down in the text. Because of course, before you started doing the answers, you did read through the whole text, didn't you? Yes, I thought you did. So if you did that, then you would see about 3/4 of the way down, there is a sentence that begins with, they realized that a lot of our techniques were getting quieter. They realized, plural, more than one founder. So here for question number 5, the answer is founders. Question number 6, what kind of sound? In other words, what is the adjective that we need to describe the sound? Well, it talks about, as the car pulled up at the traffic light, the only sound that could be heard was the repeated, which means it's suggesting an activity. And that's important from the point of view of choosing the adjective, because if you said repeated clicked sound, then it wouldn't make sense. But repeated clicking sound makes perfect sense, and that's why the answer is clicking. Question number 7, another example where we've got an adverb before the gap and where the verb putting in the verb makes no sense whatsoever, because I don't know even what the verb of audio is. To audio? I don't think so. So therefore, this must be the adjective. In other words, audible. Question number 8, potentially tricky. If you're not paying attention, you might be very confused by this, and it's because the gap is after the word feeling, and we know that ing words could be one of many different things. In this particular case, it is a gerund. Gerunds are verbs that act as nouns. So given the position of this gap, and given the language pattern that we're presented with, who knows, within a few decades you could even be feeling something about the deafening roar of motorbikes, ... This word that we need describes how it is that we are feeling. But because feeling is a noun in this case, it's a gerund, what we need here is an adjective. So you could be feeling nostalgic. Now, if you don't, and that's why nostalgic is the answer. Now, if you're not sure about how gerunds work in a sentence, because sometimes gerunds can work as a noun, sometimes gerunds can work as a verb, which means that you have to think very carefully about the modifying word. If it's acting as a verb, you need an adverb. If it's acting as a noun, you need an adjective. If you don't know those rules, then I strongly suggest that you consult a very good grammar book, get onto the internet. There might even be some information at the back of Advanced Gold which might deal with that topic, but if you don't know it, make sure that you do.